We're Danny and Kate, and 4 years ago we bought an abandoned finca in the countryside in Spain. In 2023 we finally made the big move from the city to the country, and we've been slowly regenerating the land, planting new trees and growing our own food, all while renovating a 120-year-old house so that we can call it home. After fitting new windows last summer and then stripping all the old plaster back to the original brickwork, it's finally time to cover it all back up. We're using lime, not gypsum, to plaster the walls. This will allow the brickwork to breathe and better deal with the big fluctuations in temperature and humidity that we get throughout the seasons. We'll be applying 2 layers of base coat to even out the surface using a 3-to-1 sand to lime mix. For the final top coat, we'll then use the same pre-mixed lime plaster that we used in our guest bedroom last year. And finally, we'll finish it all off with a lime wash paint. We think that the lime wash walls and the white rendered kitchen is going to contrast really nicely against wooden drawers and cupboard doors, like the ones that we've been collecting on our Pinterest boards. We'll be making all of these ourselves, which is why we were really excited to be contacted by VEVOR a few weeks ago about testing out their table saw. We're obviously not ready to make the kitchen drawers and cupboard doors just yet, but we wanted to get it all set up and give it a go.
As I've never actually used a tabletop saw before, I'm going to go through the instruction manual just to make sure everything works. So after unpacking it, I've just moved it over here so I can have a better look, and I'll show you a few of the features that are on it. First of all, you've got this hand piece here, so you can guide it through the saw and your hand's nowhere near the blade, and there's a nice little holder for it here. Then on the back here you've got these hooks that are in place so you can store your electrical cable easily. It comes with this rip fence, so that gives you a straight edge that when you pass the wood, you know you're getting a straight cut. It's also come with this mini attachment here. I believe that's so you can get closer to the blade and do smaller cuts if you wanted to. So that flicks around when you don't want it, and then you can bring it in and tighten it up when you do. It's just got these little hooks that go on the guides on the front and back, and the lever comes down and locks it in place. And then there's a handy little measurement guide here. Obviously that's in centimetres because we're in Europe. And without any adjustments, 0 is actually 0. Then everything else looks fairly good, but then we come to the main issue, which is this here where the mouth piece, so this mouth plate getting caught by the blade as it turns, which makes me think this is not quite straight. I've taken the mouth plate off now and I'm just checking the wiggle on the machine to see if that's the issue. So under here there is a little wing nut and a screw that helps move the blade a bit. So we undo the wing nut, it's now very loose. But then as you tighten it, it brings the blade at the back in, so you lose the wiggle, but I kind of feel like you lose the straightness on the blade. So I've gone away and done a bit of YouTubing myself to see if this issue with the rocking of the blade is common with this, and apparently it is. So there's a little bit of movement. Most professionals seem to think it's not an issue, in that it's not great, but it's not going to damage anything or be dangerous. So that's what we've got. The blade you get, by the way, is a 42 10-inch blade. Apparently it's good for ripping and like nicer cuts. It's like an in-between blade. It's not hitting the guard anymore, which is good. The movement issue seems to have been solved when the blade is very high or at full extension. When the blade's lower, you can see there's much more play. So I'm going to have a little read about using a saw at full extension all the time, if that's okay or not. But I think I'll probably just do some demonstration cuts and then wait for you guys in the comments to tell me what I'm really doing. So I've just made this. It's a featherboard. They used to hold your pieces close to the disc while cutting. It guides it close in without having anything else too movable in. But I wasn't filming, so you generally have two because you also have one clamped at the top here. So I'm going to build another, so you can see me using the saw. So there we have the finished piece. Basically these flex a little bit, so when you're feeding your piece through, they flex, but you've still got enough support holding your piece in the correct place before it gets cut. So as first time users of a table saw, I'm very happy. You obviously saw I was a little concerned, but that's because I never used the tool before, but actually now I've used it, I'm very comfortable. This works really nicely, slides nice and easily. The angle tool, which has got a name, a mitre I think, works really nicely. It also has a storage space on the back here, which I've not shown you, and the stores away. Overall, very good machine. I think it's about a third of the cost. I mean, the top's still aluminium and other things are aluminium, they're not steel. But for a DIY or a first time user, I'm very happy. If you're interested in getting yourself one of these, click the link in the description. We've got a discount code from VEVOR, who very kindly sent us this table saw to review.
The next day we continued with the first layer of the lime plaster. We wanted to get this base coat on so that we could start to even out the surface a bit. Once the first layer of the plaster had dried off for a few days, I started with the next coat. I brushed down the wall first just to remove any settled dust, and then used the same 3:1 sand to lime mix as before. I made sure to wet down the wall really well before applying the second layer to help it adhere properly too. It's a nice mix to work with, and it's been going on quite easily. And it feels quite nice to be adding another string to our DIY bow. This wall with the windows is finished now and is ready for its next coat. That will be the final layer where we'll be using the pre-mixed KX16, and that's just a lime plaster that's already got all of the plasticizers and everything in it. It's pre-mixed, ready to go, and it's a really nice fine material. So that will be our top layer, which will be coming up in future videos. But first we've got a couple of other jobs to do before we can get to that. So I haven't finished the plastering on that wall yet, and that's because we've got to do the plumbing before we move on. So we're going to be getting on with that next week, and then we can actually look to finish that wall with its second layer of plaster before moving on to that final top coat. So as always, if you got all the way to the end, then thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate everyone who watches our videos, gives us a thumbs up or subscribes to our channel. So if you haven't done that already, then please do consider doing so. And for now, we're going to leave it there and we'll see you on the next one.